indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to invite up Pastor Dave, who will open us in a word of prayer. Pastor Dave is senior pastor at Family of Faith Church. So thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Dean. Let's pray together. Father, we thank you that we could celebrate Easter recently and rejoice in the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. We thank you that you've given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. And we pray, Lord, that you'll help us to live in light of your victory, to live joyful lives and not grumpy ones. Help us to rejoice in you each day. And even, Lord, when we get into the affairs of politics and discussion, to be able to be patient with each other, wise in the decisions that are made, and discerning of what's best for the people who live here. We thank you for this beautiful part of your creation that we can enjoy. We thank you for homes to live in, for families and neighbors and friends to enjoy it with. And we pray, Lord, that this meeting tonight will contribute to what's good for Green Garden, and that it will be a blessing for the residents here. Guide the conversations. Thank you, Lord, for those who serve on the leadership, as well as those who are here to participate as residents of Green Garden and to be involved in other ways. Lord, guide our discussions. May we have your truth and your wisdom and your justice to guide us. For Jesus' sake, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Clerk, could you please call roll?
Supervisor Christopoulos?
Here.
Trustee Dietz?
Here.
Trustee Olszewski? Here. Trustee Shepherd? Trustee Strigo? Assessor Vachon? Here. Road Commissioner Hilliard?
Here.
Collector Michael Flanagan?
Here.
Clerk Kraft, present.
Thank you. Okay, first order of business. This is maybe a little bit too loud, huh? Yeah, a little echo. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the March 9th, 2026 board meeting as submitted. Do we have a motion? Motion by Trustee Belinda. Have a second? Second by Ralph. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Approved. The next item for consideration is to approve the Township financial report as submitted. This would be our fiscal year end, March 31st report. Do we have a motion to accept the financial? Motion by Ralph, Trustee Ralph, second by Trustee Belinda. There's only three of us. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Next order of business is unfinished business, which is our old business. Here's when we have the opportunity to vote. The board would potentially vote, not on everything we discuss, but potentially vote. And it's also where the public has opportunity before we cast our vote to have a public comment for 1 minute. So the first on the agenda under old finished business is the solar facility update. Mr. Jeff Becker, who we appreciate from the Watershed Committee, if you would come forward, please, and give us an update.
Okay. So, my brother.
Oh, yeah.
You think I need it? I don't think I need it.
Well, we need it for the video.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for the, you could just clip it or hold it.
Maybe clip it.
Yeah, this way the video picks up the sound.
Okay. So, my brother Tom is usually the one from the Watershed Committee, but
I don't think it's on, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't know how, I'm not sure I know how to do it. There's got to be a button on there somewhere, right?
Okay.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, Jeff.
Okay, so my brother Tom usually goes ahead and does this, but I'm doing it for him. He's not feeling well. So, update on the recent Joliet hearings. So, if you weren't there and you don't know what happened, they were Monday and Tuesday, March 30th and 31st in Joliet. So, The PZC, that's the Planning and Zoning Commission, they voted 4-2 against approving the solar, Earthrise Solar. So that was absolutely fabulous, and I do want to thank a lot of people that are here that spoke. I mean, there's a lot of people that spoke here, and it was wonderful right here. They spoke, and so that was absolutely fabulous. So we got a 4-2, which was wonderful. It went on to another meeting that was on the 31st. Then there were so many people at the hearing that were objecting that it went all the way, and a lot of people had to come back for a second day. So that was wonderful. I want to thank Dean Christopoulos, our supervisor. He spoke. That was fabulous. So did Gwyneth Gordon from Wilton Center and Jimmy Walsh from Manhattan. So all three of them spoke against Earthrise, as did the road commissioners from Wilton Center and Manhattan. They also both spoke and talked about their relationship and how they were not approached by Earthrise, or they kept trying to get information and they weren't given information. So that went really, really well. And then it went to a second meeting that was the LUDC. And at the LUDC, it was a 3-3. Again, it did not pass. So that was really wonderful. And that's because so many people, Bill Wagner, there were so many people here, Jim in the back, so many people came out and spoke, and that really matters. And sometimes people think their voice doesn't matter. It did matter this time. So what happened is, I want to thank also the people that were there to hold up signs and the people that were just there to support us, because the room was absolutely filled in Joliet. So what's happened in the meantime since then is there was a court ruling in it was Judge Bennett Braun on the 5 or 6 solar ones. I know Jim Rossi was asking me. We just found out, I got a call from Dan Butler. We just found out the Kuzi and the Stonkel one were in that. So we didn't know that. We were trying to find exactly out which of the ones. I think there was one from Wilmington. There was a couple other ones. So those are going to go back up for vote, it looks like on the 16th, this Thursday. So if you're wondering what's happening. So what Bennett, the judge, which is Bennett Braun, he's a Republican, he went ahead and he just followed the Third Circuit, which was by Judge John Anderson. So what they're doing is saying that the counties came in and they said, you know, we're a municipality, we're in the county, and we believe we still have the rights to object on something called the LaSalle factors, quality of life. That's one of the issues. Property values will go down. That's another issue. And so what the courts ruled is those things do not matter anymore. Those have all been taken away by the Illinois legislature under J.B. Pritzker, who said, we are taking those rights away from you now, and so those will be the constitutional issues if this case ends up going forward that we will be fighting. So a lot of people got up, they spoke about a lot of the things. If you've noticed, my brothers and I, we all spoke about the application being incomplete. So what you want to remember if the hearing goes on, those are the words you want to remember. Application incomplete, because that's the only thing that now matters that we can actually fight this case on. So why I'm kind of explaining this to you is what is incomplete about this particular, the Earthrise application. So what we have, the solar law, and I'm quoting it, it's 155-9245. That's the Will County solar law that they passed. Section Q, it says, quote, all applications for special use permit approval must include the following information. Section Q2B, a preliminary site plan identifying the following: physical features including but not limited to floodplains, wetlands, solar panels, and equipment. Number, location, and spacing of the solar panel arrays. The problem is they didn't do that. What they did is they put a concept site plan in and an estimated number of panels. So this is what, when my brother objected and we were seeking cross-examination from Will County, from the state's attorney's office, who was representing land use, they refused to allow us to do cross-examination. And what we wanted to do is, on the first day, right after Earthrise gave its presentation, my brother would have gotten up. He had a number of landowners who were abutting to the properties, and so he was representing them already. And he said, we have a right for cross-examination. Will County said, no, you don't, in an SUP. The problem is the Illinois Supreme Court says we do, the Illinois statute, or the solar law says we do, as does Will County. They have their own rules saying we have a right for cross-examination. It was denied. So we wanted to put in evidence showing that this proposal was incomplete. So we couldn't do that. So then what has happened is now we have gone ahead and my brother filed a lawsuit. A number of people here, Sheila basically is on that lawsuit, Jim's on the lawsuit. So we went ahead and we filed a lawsuit for an injunction and a temporary restraining order. That is going to be heard tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning in court, I think it's 9 a.m. In Will County. So we're going to be going for that. That will determine if the Thursday hearing happens or not. So otherwise, there'll be a Thursday hearing that will go on. It'll go on to the Will County Board as scheduled. We haven't had Chrissy put it on yet into the Green Garden calendar because we don't know if it's going to happen. So today at 3 o'clock, we got 71 pages from the attorney from Earthrise. He's not being sued in the lawsuit. We're suing Will County because it's the state's attorneys that denied us the ability to do the cross-examination. So he's trying to now intervene in the case, is what he's trying to do. So it just shows basically, I think that everyone knows we were denied improperly the right to cross-examination. So he's trying to push this forward. We're saying no, we have a right to go back and do cross-examination in the case. So I want to give you just an example of kind of what is going on with why the water issues and from the Watershed Committee, why these things matter. There was a subdivision that was put in a number of years ago. My brother, as an attorney, came in. He was allowed cross-examination, and he fought, saying that they were going to put houses through a waters of the U.S., which is not allowed. So the plat went through. We came in. We objected. My brother did, and then we ended up and then the engineer for it said there are no waters of the U.S. We called in the Army Corps of Engineers. They said yes, there's water of the U.S. And then they had to change their whole plan because you couldn't cross the waters of the U.S. So in all the properties we're talking about, there are farmed wetlands, floodplains, and waters of the U.S. They're just putting buffers on them. The problem is the wetlands often extend well into the other areas. That's why they're giving an estimate as opposed to the exact number of panels, which they have to have for every single property. Because they haven't done their job. They haven't gone to the Army Corps. They haven't gone to the IDNR. So one more example, just quick. We had the Watershed Committee got involved. We had residents from Peatone, and they came to us and they said next to the school, they were trying to put in a sports center. The problem is it was in a floodplain. And so what happened is the neighbors came to us and they said, we're already in a large storm. We get fish in our yards because we're next to a creek. And the floodplain, there's so much water, we have to wear rubber boots to get out of our house, park our cars down the street, because the subdivision never should have been put there. It was in a floodplain, and now they were trying to build on another floodplain. So they brought in the Watershed Committee. They didn't know how to go to the Army Corps, and my brother Tom then contacted the Army Corps. Army Corps said, you can't do it. Peatone, our school district, had already spent $700,000 on the plan in preparing for all the things. And then they had to throw it all out. They couldn't do it because of the water issues. Same exact issue here. You can't do this in a preliminary plan. You have to do, the preliminary plat has to list everything. And they haven't done anything. Most of the fields for farmed wetlands, any farmed wetland in the area, you have to actually allow the hydrophytic vegetation to come back first. They haven't done that. They haven't gone to the Army Corps, and they haven't gone to the IDNR. So that's why the application itself is incomplete. So that's what you'll hear my brothers and I saying if the hearing goes forward on this Thursday. And for everyone, when you go up, just try to remember at the end or the beginning of your thing to say, this application is incomplete. We want to have that repeated as many times as we possibly can. So go ahead, say whatever else you want, but try to say the application is incomplete because it's the only thing the board can actually rule on. Okay, one other thing I just mentioned, at the hearing, we found out there was also a short-eared owl, which is an endangered species. and one was found in Manhattan. We're trying to now locate exactly where it was found, but it looks like that may be another violation. If there's an endangered species, that may stop part of the project as well. So anyway, that's just one more thing. So the new lawsuit, we filed for the injunction, and then we're going for the temporary restraining order. So if you don't have any questions on it, just ask me about how that works. And I'll go through it better. It's called a TRO hearing, temporary restraining order. That will be tomorrow morning. The next scheduled Earthrise hearing, otherwise, if the judge does not grant the temporary restraining order, will be Thursday. It's 411 South Larkin Ave at the Clarion Hotel and Convention Center. That's in the Sapphire Emerald Room. That would be at 9:30 before the Will County Board. So that would be this Thursday at 9:30. I understand a lot of people have to work. You may not be able to go to it, but anyone that can go, please go, because it does matter how many people show up. Let's see, so then I want to just talk about the update on Aaronwood, the US Solar. So that has changed from 60 acres to now 90 acres. So they added additional acreage to it in the application, just so everyone knows. I want to thank the residents here that prepared a whole packet, put envelopes, got everything set for the residents of Aaronwood, and then they were sent to the Watershed Committee. We got, I think it was maybe 11, maybe it was 22 residents is what we ended up getting out of that. We were worried that that wasn't enough people. So I do want to thank Belinda Olszewski, our trustee, Linda Wardzinski, and Melissa Tab Eggers, who all went and they took their Saturday and they went to a lot of the houses or sat outside and talked to all the people. And I think they got another 52 signatures, which is absolutely fabulous. So then we have a lot of the people in that area, which is, then we can file the petition showing that all these neighbors objected who are adjacent, because this is directly adjacent to Aaronwood. So let me see if what else I have. That hearing, I think my brother looked it up. It would be in the PZC, so the Planning and Zoning Commission hearing for the solar application would be in Joliet on May 5th at 5:30 p.m. at the Will County Office Building. So that building is 302 North Chicago Street on the second floor. It's there. It's where the Will County Board regularly they sit. So if you have any questions on that, we'll have Chrissy put that on so that everyone knows that's that specific application. Any other questions from up here?
Just a comment, or I guess it is a question. We prefer the county board meeting to be canceled on Thursday, correct?
Yes.
That's our preference, is that it cancels,
Right.
because then it will delay it about how long, do you think?
So it will depend on what Will County does, but the problem with the whole thing is if the judge doesn't do the temporary restraining order, what's going to basically happen is it'll go through. She could still do it in the injunction, not the temporary restraining. And then we would go in and there would be testimony given on that date. The problem is if they do it, they're going to have to redo everything. So this is going to save steps basically for the county, because if you find that they didn't do the cross-examination, they're probably going to have to start the whole process over and start back with the PZC, go to the LUDC to go to Will County.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then on the first page of this legal document, it says the initial case management set for July 27th.
That's how it always is. They always set something initially for the case. Usually everything gets done. In this case, these get done immediately. This is an emergency motion.
Yeah.
So usually you might file a motion. So we served a copy actually on Will County itself when we filed it, and then the sheriff was out sick, so it may not have even gotten actually properly served until today. But the temporary restraining order, that was filed on Friday. We went on Friday, and that's for Tuesday.
Okay,
That makes
thank you.
sense. Any other questions?
Would they still vote on the Stumko-Kuzi one on Thursday?
On Thursday, they're still going to vote on the Stumko-Kuzi one, and just so everyone knows, Joe Van Dyne, who's the Democratic speaker, has put out a resolution basically saying that they're enraged that they're having to do this because they already went through the whole process, They're very upset that they're not being listened to, so they're filing a resolution to say they want the Illinois law changed back the way it used to be. So you're getting almost a bipartisan now situation where even the Democrats and the Republicans are all saying, this is not workable anymore. We cannot do this anymore because we have a right to have some ability to control our land use. So, I just should mention one last thing. The lawsuits themselves are all the constitutional issues. Those are all separate, they're all preserved, we've already done that. The problem with these cases, no one did the constitutional issues and they didn't raise it on the lower court. Some constitutional issues you can raise because it's a violation. These are due process violations. There's multiple actually violations of removing all of our rights. But the problem with some of these cases is no one did that. The counties all fought saying the municipalities, even with the law, we still believe we have a right to control part of our land use as a Will County Board. And now the courts have ruled, no, you don't. And then it was strange because the Judge Braun in this, we've been waiting for a ruling, waiting for a ruling, waiting for a ruling. He went ahead and he demanded that the board rule on this in 7 days. Well, usually you wait for 30 days so they have a chance to an appeal. So why that was, I don't know. It's kind of bizarre. He's already called a status and is demanding that, I think by the 17th, the Will County Board has to rule. So I'm sure it will go up on the 16th.
Okay.
On those cases.
On all the other cases.
Did they do the Army Corps of Engineer thing and?
No, I don't believe so, but I don't know exactly in those cases because we weren't involved in any of them. So, but they had the county attorneys and things, they kind of maybe a little bit objected on due process and some of the things, but I doubt that they're going to appeal them. I think what they're going to do is what usually happens, in my own opinion, what happens with Will County, is they dump it on the residents and say, you go ahead and do it. You have to fight for your own rights. So, and I mean, it's a shame because all the people came to those meetings and they ruled on them. So this is kind of the same situation with Aaronwood. It's just is right next to a subdivision. So, I mean, but those rights of property value decreases has been removed from the law. Only thing you can attack is if it's incomplete. Incomplete application is the only thing. So just remember, if it goes on Thursday, if you're gonna speak, try to remember to say that. And I know Sheila here spoke very, very well about what happened when she had to go before the board and how every I needed to be dotted and every T, and they came back and said, well, you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to do this. That's not happening with these big projects. They're just running right over everyone and they're allowing them not to follow the rules that the residents have to follow. And that's a big problem in Will County right now.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
If there are more questions, though, what I'm going to ask is that you just raise your hand, please, state your name, and give a microphone so that we could have it recorded and the clerk could have your name on record. Because we want to hear the questions, too, on the video. Is there anyone else that does have a question? You're welcome to ask it. Yes, sir. If you could just state your name, please. And
It's on? This is kind of a question. I know there are a whole lot more smarter people than me up here, but I guess we voted you guys in. We can vote them out as well. I know you said the vote was like 4-2, right? 4 against it and 2 for. Can we find out who is, I mean, as the voters, right, like you should be kind of voting on our behalf on what we're saying. And if there are people that are saying, yes, we do want solar, like we need to find out who those people are so we can get them on the ballot next time. So, yeah, I mean, that would be great, at least so we're properly informed. So come next vote, we can figure out how we're gonna vote appropriately, including the judges. I don't know how all that stuff works, but I think it's a great idea.
thank you, Caesar. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? The board, Belinda, Ralph, anybody else? Any officer? Okay, well, thank you so much. Gary, did you have a question? Okay. I don't want to point your speech out, but I thought it was just so, it was so powerful, but it was funny at the same time when you asked, I have one question. Do any of you guys want to buy my house? That was really good. That was really good. So, okay, yes. Yes, sir. Could you state your name, please, for the record? And then Belinda will give you the microphone.
I'm with the veterans.
Well, I'm sorry, what's your name, sir?
I was in the. What's your name? Robert Sapkowski.
Robert Sikowski.
I was in the Vietnam War. Okay.
Thank
and
you for your
also,
service.
we're trying to get the military over here on an air base just for rescue, because if you have it over by us, they would transfer the person who's injured all the way to a hospital that does what they wanted to do. Sometimes we have a car wreck with maybe 7 or 8 incidents. The base is right there. All you do is call them. They say, well, we need assistance for this. But that's up to you guys if you decide you want to do that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'm still with the military. I talk to them and everything else, and even with the police department too, because I rescued some people in our area, and they're doing shootings. So I had to go in there and find out what he's doing. So.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Thank you. Anyone else have a question regarding the solar? Okay, thanks again, Jeff, to you and Tom and Attorney Steve. Appreciate all the work you're doing on behalf of 3 townships. 3 townships, so thank you. Okay, our next order of business is still under old business, and it is the Town Hall renovation project. We're going to take a few minutes on this because we do intend on voting on this evening. That has to do with this town hall being renovated. I've given the board a couple sheets to look over, and I'll give you a quick update on where it has been and where it is now. So we had the bids come in. There were 8 bidders that were on the record to give a bid. They were on the list, but only 2 gave bids. Only 2 turned in the bids. And so of those 2, they were both above our budget. And so we asked them if they would revise their bid, and if necessary, they would suggest revising the scope of work in order to lower their bid, or just lower it. So it's called value engineering in this department. It's called, they value engineer the project. And so where we're at now is Grafin Construction. Their original bid came in at $618,000. Reed Construction came in at $545,028, both of which were well above the $530,217 that is the grant money. That's the balance in the grant money that they have allotted to our township for this project. So again, it was quite a bit over our budget. So they just turned in a revised bid. And here's what it is now, and the board will discuss the details, but the revised contract amount bid for Grafin is $573,201. Again, our amount that we're working with is $530,217. Reed Construction came in at $502,556, below our budget. If you look at your sheet there at the bottom, it says the other costs I listed down there, the builder's risk insurance that we are responsible for will cost the township no money. Torma, who insures us, I spoke to them today just to confirm it. They do not charge us for that. It's part of what we pay on an annual basis. So we will be covered with builder's risk insurance. So the contractors did not have to include that policy in their bid. The permit fee that Belinda spoke to the county about is right around, it is 6,900 right now. It could change a little bit, but it doesn't sound like it, right? It's about 6,900.
6,900, and then if anything else comes up, then they would add it to that.
Yeah. Do you guys have a microphone?
Oh,
Okay, and then the architectural fee from TRIA is $26,350 additional cost. And the septic design that they had to sub out so that we could get the design for the septic system was $1,430. So the total project cost from Grafin, with all of our costs included, not just Grafin's bid, plus these three that I just mentioned, is $607,881 from Grafin. Reed Construction is $537,236. So Reed is the only one that is close to our budget of $530,217. A couple other important points are both of these bids have a $30,000 adjustment in it, meaning it's, in common vernacular, it's fudge money. So if the county came in and said, hey, because you guys have this going on, you need to add this or do that, or there's some unforeseen cost, we have a $30,000 allowance for that. So if we don't have any of that, then we will save the $30,000. If we do, obviously the opposite, or it may be somewhere in between. So if we could turn our attention to the project scope of work. The first item is to replace the septic system. That remains in the scope. So all these items that I'll read are part of the original scope that we all agreed on and voted for. Replace the septic system. The second item on the list is remove trees on the south property line. We took that out of the scope, or they took it out in order to lower their price, help lower their price. So the trees on the south property line will not be removed by these contractors. We actually have someone else doing that at a really good price, but nothing to do with this. The third item, provide paved ADA parking space. That remains in this scope. Replace the stone in the parking lot to allow for the septic system installation is also in the scope. Provide a flagpole. That is out of the scope. And Accenture/Will County, as you know, have already told us that we can't have a flag in the scope. They won't pay for that. So I think we'll be fine paying for that ourselves at the right time. The next item, raise the vestibule floor to be flush with the community room. So back or up front there will be level. That stays in the scope. Refinish the community wood flooring is out of the scope. It's been eliminated. Add 6 outlets to the community room in the back there. That is now out of the quote. And these are all things we could do on our own if we felt the priority to do them, but it's outside of the grant. Expand the toilet rooms to be accessible with new fixtures. That obviously is in the scope. Raise the floor of the back area to be flush with the community room. So to make this building ADA compliant, all the floors have to be one level. So all that'll be leveled out in the back. That stays in the quote. Remodel the kitchen area with new flooring, ceiling, and lights. Stays in the quote. Replace the kitchen cabinets and sink has been taken out. So we will not have, from these guys, we would not have a sink or refrigerator or cabinets. Relocate the rear egress door to the back wall remains in the quote. That's a necessity. Upgrade the electrical system and add a second panel is in the quote. The rest of these are all in the quote. Replace the existing HVAC unit. replace the water heater, add a water softener, provide stairs and a landing at the new rear door location, and replace the old wiring in the barn. Not that we care too much about that, but the county does, because it's out of code. So that's the scope. Again, Reed is at 537, 236, with the added items that we need to pay for, the architect fee and the septic system design. And Grafin is at 607, 881. So, board members, do you have comments or discussion points on this? We've been looking at it for a long time. We kind of have a feel for it. Wes, who's not here, he's aware of this, and so is Monroe. We do have a quorum. Our vote would all have to be the same or it wouldn't pass because there's only 3 of us here.
It seems like a lot of money to spend on this building, being that it's, you know, you're not gonna see anything. You walk in the door, except for the ramp coming in, you'll notice that there's a difference, but everything else will be the same, except for the washrooms, they'll be upgraded, the lights will be the same, the stinking fans will be the
Can you
same.
put the mic to your, so that the video can hear?
Yeah.
I think it's on, Ralph. I think it's already on. The green is,
Oh, the green's on that side? Green's on this?
I think you're good. You just get, oh,
Okay. So, nothing's gonna change from your perspective. I think it's, you're walking the door and it's gonna look like the same old place again. We'll have, at least we'll have a new heating system, possibly air conditioning, a new panel in the back. You know, seems like a lot of money. I mean, if you thought we were gonna go to Home Depot and pick up a door for $100 or $300, it's, make that like 4 times what we're paying, what you pay at Home Depot. The cost of doing a construction like this from government really sucks.
that's your comment, okay? Belinda?
Again, it's going to be items that need to be ADA compliant. The front entrance, when you still walk in the front entrance, you're gonna see the exact same thing, except for the floor will be raised. New bathrooms, I'm disappointed that, you know, the floors aren't gonna be done and the walls aren't gonna be painted, and, the kitchen, we're not gonna have a new kitchen, so when people come in here to use this facility, there won't be kitchen area for them. But, we got information from residents who came and spoke and said they wanted us to use the grant money. And so we are using the grant money. I would still like to hear from residents in the audience who spoke on behalf of this and make sure that they're still good with this. We will get a few improvements here for this money, and it is expensive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, before we, the residents will have an opportunity to talk. A couple other points based on that is, the $30,000 allowance in a perfect world, if we don't need to use it, we could revise the scope and add, we could supplement the scope to include the floor possibly, we could include back the painting. That's a possibility, because we won't experience any money coming back to our account. It's all in the grant, so we do want to use the full grant. Again, if we don't have the allowance money, we could potentially still do some of those things. As far as the kitchen, the plumbing is there, so that's something we could do ourselves if we wanted to as well. I think we got some plumbers around, don't we? So, yeah, my opinion is this, you know, and I've said this all along. My first and our first desire as a board was the new town hall. That got put aside. I wanted to say sabotaged, but it got put aside because we just ran out of time. The county changed the date 3 times for various reasons, and we just felt that it would be way too big of a financial risk to push that forward because of the new timeline. And if we didn't finish it on time, we don't get any grant money. So therefore, this was a much smaller project, and 35, 37%, maybe 40% of the residents did want this option. Most wanted the other option. I certainly wanted the other option. But what our goal was that we would not spend any more money out of pocket than we already have. There's already been money spent on this project from the previous year to 3 years ago. So this is what's left, is the 530,000. Not what's left, that's the total. So we've already expended that money. So the goal is not to spend any more than that, and that's why we want to keep it within the budget.
And what was expended will not be reimbursed to us
That is-
already.
That is
That's
correct.
what we've been told. So,
Yeah. Now, had this number from these bids come in $130,000 less, then it would be possible to recoup some of that money. Not all of it, but some of it. But because the bids came in where they're at, no, there's no way to recoup that money. That money, it's a sunk cost. I don't know if there's accountants out there, but that's the term. It's a sunk cost. There's no way to get it back at this point. I guess unless the allowance didn't go through and we could submit some of those invoices, I guess that's a possibility, 20, 30,000. So we'll see how it goes. Any other thoughts? Okay. Yeah, so what we're going to end up doing, we are somewhat obligated to go with the lowest bid as long as both contractors are put in all their paperwork correctly, as we know from our other legal suit going on. That's very important that it has to be, and that has been checked out. Both our quality companies, they put in all their paperwork, everything's a go. The one concern that we all had was, especially since we changed the scope of work with permission from Will County, from an email from the executive and a censure months ago now, but we're still concerned. We want to make sure that they're good with this. So we're gonna have a motion on the table to award this bid, but it's going to be contingent upon a censure / Will County sending us at least an email stating that they are in agreement with us moving forward with this, and the grant money, it's in line with the grant money application before we sign an actual contract with the contractor. So here's what the motion would be. But again, I sidetracked myself. Reed is the lowest. He's quite a bit lower. Grafin is 607,881. Reed is 537,236. So we're pretty obligated to Reed based on everything. Would you agree with that? Ralph, do you too?
So we're going with the 537.
Yeah, because otherwise we're spending more money than the grant has,
Right.
which has been always the big priority. Okay, so this is what would be the motion here, and I wrote it down. We could change the words if we want a little bit, and then before we vote on it, we'll have public comment. The motion.
Making the motion?
Pardon me?
You're making the motion?
No, I'm not making it. I'm gonna speak it out, and then one of us can make it. The motion will be to award the town hall renovation project with the revised scope of work to Reed Construction for the bid price of $502,556. This award is contingent upon a censure / Will County's written approval stating the price and scope are acceptable and satisfy the terms of the grant. So I wrote it down here so we could put it in the public record. The reason I put 502, 556 is because that is their bid. Then we have additional costs of the 6,900, 26,350, and the 1,430, for a total of $537,236. Okay, so I will ask for a motion. You have it in front of you if you would just like to read it. If you're good with that, someone could make a motion, we'll second, and then before we vote, we'll open it up for public comment. Do I have a motion on the table?
I'll make the motion to award the Town Hall renovation project with the revised scope of work to, you want to read in there for the bid price of $537,236.00.
This is our additional.
Well, I said the total instead.
Yeah, his bid price, we'll be signing a contract with Reed for the 502 though.
Okay, so it's for 502, 556.00.
And then the second sentence, please.
Oh, this award is contingent upon censure Will County's written approval stating the price and scope are acceptable and satisfy the terms of the agreement.
Okay. Motion's been made by trustee Ralph. Do we have a second?
I just had a question about.
Oh, yes, sure.
On that second part, should it state that if a censure does not give us email stating that they agree with us, that we will not do it?
Well, we could add it, but this is really what it says. This award is contingent upon that.
Okay.
So if they don't give that to us, we will not go forward with the project.
Okay.
So I think it's in there already. Okay, do we have a second? Second by trustee Belinda. Before we vote, I ask for public comment regarding just this item here. And if you do have a comment, if you could please just raise your hand, I'll call on you, and then you could stand up and Belinda will give you the microphone. Yes, sir. Mr. Bill Wagner.
So you're on camera.
Hi, Bill Wagner. I just wanted to say that while there won't be a lot of visible changes in this room, what's important is that the infrastructure for being ADA compliant, which is extremely expensive, would be covered. So this whole building would become ADA compliant. And this is basically, fixing this room is a decorating issue, not a rehab type issue. That's all I wanted to say.
Yes, thank you, Bill. That's a good point. Yes, sir, if you could please state your name again for the record.
Robert Sikowski. I'm a veteran, and there's other ways to raise money in this township, okay? Like in Joliet, they'll donate money. If you go to their bar, they donate money to over here too. Not that much, but if you can find other ways to do that, you can have like a fair. You have those already, I think, and some other ways that we can come out with. If I think of any, I can let you know what's.
I'm sorry, say that again, if what?
Oh, if you can think of anything.
Think of ways, okay.
Yeah, think of ways to raise money. I do too to the military. Sometimes they donate to a section, not to a whole bunch, and find out what's going on. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
welcome.
that. And appreciate it very much. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Anthony Cantone. I just wanted to comment on that contractor, Reed Construction, very reputable company.
Oh, good.
They are a responsible bidder, and I believe what you're required to choose from is a responsible bidder. It doesn't necessarily have to be the lowest bidder. But in this case, he is
They're both
significantly, I think
responsible,
that's
yeah.
a good choice. I think he'll do a great job for you. I just kind of wanted to echo what they said earlier about, yes, the inside needs some paint, needs some floor finish, but maybe we get some guys together. Probably 100 and some years ago when he built this building, was probably a bunch of people from the community got together and laid these blocks, put this building together. So if you're looking for volunteers, I'll volunteer.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Phone number, please.
For the record, it'll be on Facebook, it'll be on Instagram.
Well, I gotta finish my projects at home. Painting of the kitchen.
That's good. Okay, anybody else? Any other public comment on that? Okay, very good. We
First name Anthony?
Okay, we do have a motion. It has been seconded. We will do a roll call for the vote to approve the motion.
Okay. Trustee Dietz.
Yes.
Trustee Yarshevsky.
Yes.
Supervisor Christopoulos.
Yes? Okay, great. Passed unanimously. Motion is carried. The next order of business brings us to new business. And the first item on our agenda is a Veterans Planning Celebration honoring our veterans. Our desire as we move forward, we've been on very important topics, the solar, the town hall. We want to start incorporating some community events. And the first one is the Veterans Planning Celebration that Trustee Belinda is supervising and organizing and developing and looking for volunteers. But go ahead, Belinda.
Okay, actually, Monroe Strigo, the trustee who has been absent right now, has for 4 years asked for a celebration in November for all of our veterans in Green Garden. He's been working to try to find a list of all of the veterans in our township. And I have recently connected with Will County veterans, and they're going to give me a list so that now that's our starting point, to have all the veterans come, and we're going to have a celebration. Hopefully, knock on wood, this building will be done and we'll be able to have it here. And it'll be like with the reopening and celebration for the veterans. So it's in the planning stage, but it has been because Monroe has pushed so hard. There's 2 or 3 volunteers already. If anyone else would like to participate, please just send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Belinda. We're pretty excited about that, and I know the community will be too. So we appreciate all our veterans. Thank you for your service, sir. So that'd be great. Looking forward to that. And yeah, we better be finished because we have until October 31st to finish it. Really before that. That's the deadline. Okay, so nothing to vote on there. We're just informing what's ahead. The next item on our agenda, which is the last one other than the reports by the officers, is our 2027 proposed budget discussion. If I could just share a little bit on that. We are not going to be voting on this nor discussing in detail tonight the proposed budget because some of the trustees, and some of which who are not even here this evening, have some questions regarding the general town fund budget. So we're going to gather those questions together and address those and be prepared to vote. The board members, you all have the draft copy that we have of the town fund. I will report that it has been official. We just got notified by the county that the extension to us from the tax levy is $301,400. So they did extend us that amount, and that is what we asked for. And then maybe Jim, when you do your report, maybe you have something to share on the roads. But, okay, so that's it as far as that goes. I think it'd be best to hold it since there's other questions and the trustees aren't even here to discuss it. We're going to really look at this. So I just encourage the board members, all of us, this week even, to write down our questions. We'll gather a list together. We'll distribute them individually. we all could look at them individually and then be prepared to discuss them next month, because we do want to vote on the budget at the next meeting.
So the 301 was 5% what we asked for?
It was what we asked for, yes.
Okay. I thought it's usually like, we ask for 5, we always get like 2.9 or something like that.
That has been the past, and maybe Bill knows more about that than I do, but yeah, that has been the past. I also believe that the assessor's new construction, there was a lot of new construction that came through, so I don't know what the factor is, but we have an email here, and he sent me an attachment just confirming it. So we did get it. Anything else regarding that? Okay, so yeah, please be ready for next month to really dig into the budget, and we'll distribute these out again. And even if you have like thoughts regarding it, this is all, it's a public meeting and it has to be talked about in the public. We don't discuss things with 3 of us. However, we are allowed to discuss with myself and Ralph, for example, myself and Belinda and Ralph. So if there's any specific details that you want clarity on, just throw them my way if you'd like, and I'll do the best to clarify it so that we have a good discussion next month. Anything else? Okay. All right, so that brings us to our reports. Next item of agenda is the reports by the officers. The first report is from our road commissioner, Jim. Please give us a report. No.
No, you have to get Carol. Yeah. This is right.
How about now? All right. I just got to give you guys a highway commissioner's report. So,
Thank you, Jim.
that report has the financials for the year, our liabilities, and then the status of the equipment that's over $200. You guys have probably already seen the financial report as far as what's been going on. Will County had a meeting. It was for a management meeting for town officials and stakeholders. They just wanted to get kind of an idea of what we thought the town or the county wanted or needed and how we could work with them. I brought up about the solar farms, and most people are against it. A few other things, but they did say something that's kind of interesting. They thought there was a big turn where a lot of people are buying property on acreage. They saw that as increasing. So the people, the 5 and 10 acre lots, there was a need for that type of housing. So it might be a little bit more building going on in our area. Let's see here. Then I attended another meeting. That was March 23rd. That was for Sheer Road Bridge. So that's been going on for about 3 years now. Deconstruction was awarded that contract. That was $1.6 million. Once the box beams come in, or I'm sorry, they put the order in for the box beams. Once those beams are started construction, they said that it'd be about 6 to 8 weeks and the bridge will be in. So it could go pretty quick depending on when those beams come in or start giving. Let's see here. The crews, we had 6 inches of rain in the past 30 days. One of those rainstorms was pretty good. It seemed like 2 inches fell in an hour. I I did notice some weak points in the streets, some areas that were flooded that never flooded before that I noticed. So that really played havoc with the ditches. A lot of debris in the ditches have been cleaning, and the culverts trying to get all those waterways and ditches to run freely. Right now, for this month, they'll be focused on shoulder stone, which is eroded from that rain, and ditch maintenance. I got a meeting tomorrow with the paving representative. I just want to go over a few of my road bids, just to make sure everything's understandable for him. I don't have anybody, I do my own bid writing, so I don't pay anybody to do it, so I just make sure that when I put the language together, that it's easy for them to read, it's competitive, and there's no problems, because it's just too much work to put all this out, put in the newspaper, have those bids come in, and someone says the language doesn't make sense. So what I'll do is I'll write that up, I'll go through the roads with a few guys, then I'll send one out, like an example, to Iroquois, one out to PT Faro, get their feedback, just make sure it all makes sense to those guys. That's gonna happen tomorrow, I'll start that. So I've been telling you guys, been working the road bids, but should be finished up sometime early or sometime this week. I think that is. And then for the 26-27 fiscal year, the budget, I don't have my final extensions back. So once I get those, I can plug the numbers in, but I'm 95% done with that. So, and I did get 5% or like 4.97%. It's very close, but yeah, I did get 5% just like the township did. The last thing I have is last meeting, there was a question about what am I doing with the money that I'm saved from hauling the stone? When I took office, I just noticed that it'd be a savings if we hauled all of our own stone from the quarry. So instead of paying an outside contractor to do that, we have saved money. What I do with all the money that I save, it just goes into paving the roads, paving and tar and chipping the roads. So the way I do the budget is there's a minimum amount of money I need for certain things like salt, manpower, machine maintenance. Once all that is done, it all goes into road improvements. The goal right now is to pave as many roads as possible. That is my goal. And then the other question is why am I not using an outside contractor for 88th Avenue? Not sure where the information came from. I had intentions of using an outside contractor for that. We're not able to pave a mile of road. We have to use outside contractors for that type of work. That's all.
Thank you, Jim. Collector's report, please. Oh, sure. Sorry. Hold
No
on a
report.
second. Belinda, go ahead.
It's right here.
I just want to ask a question real quick. Okay, my question, Jim, thank you so much for giving us a list of your equipment and the conditions that they're in. I really appreciate that because that helps us to understand when you're buying vehicles and that. Most of the information that you did give us, we did get from our accountant, so I was able to review all that. The MFT fund, is that what you're going to meet for tomorrow? Will you know what roads you'll be paving? And is there any way you can put that out so the residents know what roads are being paved? Or what projects are being worked on? Oh, here. Sorry, here. Yeah, we can see it.
No, that is not what I'm meaning about the MFT funds. The MFT funds haven't been used this will be the second year I have not used MFT funds. Reason being is I can use those MFT funds for the bridge. The bridge is a big project, it's 1.6, like I said. We're gonna receive about probably like $1.1 million. If there's a cost overrun on that, I have to be prepared for it. You just don't say, I don't have it. So I can use the MFT funds for the bridge. So I've held those back. I wanted to use them this year, but the bids didn't come in soon enough for the bridge. And the bids for the MFT funds had to be submitted last month, so it just didn't work out. I can use it for gravel, I can use it for other things, but it's almost a waste of money because whenever you use MFT funds, there's a 5% engineering fee. So if I have to pay a 5% engineering fee, then I'm going to use the engineer from Will County. So then I'll do like a mill and repave where I'll get an engineer to come out there. So I don't think it's a great idea for me to go pick up my own gravel, bring it back and say, hey, I'm going to take this off the MFT funds. What was the other question you had about those? Oh, the roads? So the roads, yeah, I do every year. When I have the road bids come in, I'll let you guys know what roads were bid out, what the bids came in for, and then we'll go through it. And the way I do it is I'll put one bid in for a road, and then I'll have like 6 different addendums. And then when the bids come in, I can take those addendums and I can start moving them up to active bids, or just put them aside and say that we don't have the money for them. That way I don't have to do like 3 bids for 3 different times of the year. Got it. Who's
Thank you,
next?
Jim. Mike?
Mike was going to report.
Oh, Assessor, please, Jane?
Hello. A few statistics. The number of exemptions in 2025 were 2,109. Of that, we had 477 senior citizens that qualified for senior exemptions. We had 125 seniors who qualified for low-income senior freezes. We had 38 disabled veteran exemptions, 32 standard disability exemptions, and 1,415 taxpayers who qualified for general homestead exemptions. At the end of 2025, we had 1,484 residents living in their homes, okay, not rented. The number of parcels we total right now is 2,344. Number of farm parcels with or and without buildings is 756. The approximate number of farm acres is less than 18,000 at this point. And out of the Green Garden Township's 2025 assessed value of more than 295 million, we've got about 226 million of that gets directly received due to residential properties. So a huge amount of our revenue comes from residential properties. And about 61 million from farm properties. Okay, so a very small amount also from commercial and industrial at this point. The township's total assessed values increased from 267 million to around 295 million in 1 year. And we will certainly exceed over 300 million in the assessed values in 2026. Just so you're aware, that is double what we had in around 2013. Okay, so it's a considerable amount of growth. At the end of February, we had already 29 newly constructed residential home permits that we've got to mark, and that's just as of the end of February. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us at a field staff standpoint. We've got to go out there and measure all these homes, photograph them, assess them, et cetera, et cetera. We've also got, as of the end of February, we had 50 additional accessory structures. That's usually pole buildings, detached garages, et cetera. So field checks, we're just getting started on for 2026. We'll beef up more in May and June. Just be aware of that, that we may be out there. We will have vehicles marked and shirts and things like that. And one last thing, tax bills will be out the first or second week in May. Okay, so your first installments, keep an eye out. They're coming in the mail. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. That's a one page, that all came from that one page?
Correct.
Could we get a copy of that?
Sure.
That's really
I'll give
good
it to her
information, I
anyway.
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Would it make sense to post that on the website? Yeah. Is that okay, Jane?
She
Can we
puts
post?
it in meeting minutes.
Yeah, can we get it on the website somewhere, or could I put it on the Facebook page?
Do you want it separate from the meeting minutes? Is that what you want?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Both. Oh, not, yeah, not in place of, but both.
Oh, okay. 'cause
I just
she's
think
been
it's really
posting-
valuable,
She's
good
been
info.
posting my monthly stuff on the
Okay,
meeting minutes, but,
good. Well,
I mean, either one.
If you could send it my way, we'll post it on the board Facebook page too. That's good
Okay.
information to have, that residents have. Thank you. Okay, trustee reports. Trustee Ralph, you have a report, please? The microphone. We got,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Mike.
Here, sorry.
thank you, Mike.
Okay, so Harry Marwell from U.S. Solar contacted Green Garden Township to thank the residents who came to his U.S. Solar open house. He was truly appreciative of everyone's willingness to engage, ask thoughtful questions, and share their perspectives. And then he submitted his application for a solar farm, ZC 26017. So it's a go for here. And then on March 13th, my wife and I were headed out going north on Harlem. We were at the Nealon property. I think it died. On March 13th, we were at the Nealon property. We encountered a tractor trailer unloading a huge excavator. Sorry about this, not a public speaker. On our way back, I noticed the excavator was way down inside the Nealon property, which is a 40-acre spot. And I've heard previously, I was informed that Nealon's sold their 40 acres to a developer. So when I got home, I checked Will County Land Use website for permits, talked to the road commissioner, who is actually, at that point, it's Monee Township, so I didn't talk to him, but and there's no permits or anything out there, so I called code enforcement, filed a complaint, and as of yet, nothing's happening. On 326, I noticed someone working north on Harlem, right by my neighbor's house on Drowley in Harlem. He has 20 acres out there. This guy was building attempting at building a pole barn or something. So I called Will County Land Use, checked on permits. There were no permits, and they came out, code enforcement came out, and while I was on the GIS, I noticed the property tax had been updated for the 2025 tax year, but no due date. So I checked ours and a few of the neighbors. Wow, that was an eye-opener. So to be continued.
Okay, thank you, Ralph. Linda?
And I have no report today.
No report. Okay, very good. All right, and nor do I. We spoke a lot about different topics, so Supervisor does not have anything else further to say. I would like to open it up for public comments, and as always, for this portion, it could be on any subject. You just please limit your comments to 2 minutes, and if you do have public comment, I ask that you please raise your hand. The chair will recognize you, and then just state your name again for the record, and we'll give you a microphone so that the video can record, okay? So with that, public comments, anyone have any public comments? Yes, sir. Yes, buddy, if you could stand up. We're gonna give you a microphone. Well, I know you don't, and we could hear you, but we want it for the video recording, because people need to. It's a public meeting, so could you give a microphone over there?
I got one sentence, is all I got.
Oh, okay. We'll talk up loud so we can hear you. As long as it's respectful, we'll be good with it.
I think you should abolish this public comment thing, because it does no good. Nothing that ever happens with it. And if you want something specific, I mean, they can't hear you, I guess. I don't know. So it'd be better if you just do away with it.
Okay, thank you, buddy. I'll comment on that comment. I think public comments is helpful. We do want to listen and hear what everybody says, and we do write it down through our clerk, and then we address these comments. But it also, we're residents, right? We're all residents, so if you want to talk about something, just call a board member or email. I guess I need to stop. All right. Okay, any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Cesar Nava.
Thanks, Caesar.
I know, Jim, I'm no expert, but I know a bunch of AI stuff is out there. If you look into Claude, I think it's like $20 a month. You can actually ask it to do any of that stuff, and it'll take care of the majority of your bids. You can come up with something, a template, and then it'll take care of a lot of that stuff for you, which actually opens up a little bit of extra time for you. You should, Claude, I think CLAUDE possibly. ChatGPT, all that stuff, guys. I mean, really, if you have kids or anything, it's huge. It's awesome. And then the only other thing that I would ask is, I know the financials. I'm not 100% sure if we have the capabilities of maybe doing a hyperlink to add those so you're easily accessible. Sometimes navigating through the Green Garden Township website can be a little bit difficult. As well as not sure if you're able to do year-to-year comparables to say, hey, we were down this year because of this, we're up this year because of this. I know, like with new equipment and stuff like that you mentioned, sometimes you have to spend a little bit more. It would give us a little bit better information on that. That's all I have to say. Thank you, guys.
So you're suggesting a hyperlink?
It's a hyperlink. You just kind of right-click it, and what it does is you can add the website. So you make it clickable. You right-click it, and then it kind of just opens up, like you were talking about, adding what you just mentioned for the properties and stuff like that, and the financials. You just click it, and what you've done is you've created a hyperlink which will completely open whatever file you're looking for. It simplifies it, and if anybody needs any help, I can stick around and show you how to do that as well. I don't care to donate some time whenever necessary. Yeah, the GIS, whenever you go click on the property, like that's hyperlinked, you open that up and stuff like that. It's a lot of the stuff is really, really cool. More than happy to help.
What the assessor just said was about security. We got to make sure our security is intact before we do something like that, right? Is that, you agree? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Yes, Mr. Gary.
If anybody saw me in the last week or so, and I was walking with a cane, my new friend is that cortisone shot. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, that cortisone shot works great. Well, I had a question actually for you. I'm going to just step off to the side here so I can see everybody. It was posted, I've seen it on the Green Garden website, where they were talking about, what's her name, Sherry Newquist, who evidently is supposed to represent us but doesn't. And I said, when is she up for re-election, and can we get somebody to run against her? And I believe you responded to me and said Dan Butler was running. Well, we already have Dan Butler.
He's up for election, and so is Sherry.
Okay, what I was getting. Pardon me? Okay, all right. So I need to find out who the. I need to find out who the third candidate is then, so I can support them if they support us. Because obviously Sherry's in it for her own. So I just had that question, that's all. Because I know Dan's got my vote, and Sherry doesn't. So we gotta have somebody running against her. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
I know in the Farmers Weekly it said, in a long-awaited ruling, Braun ordered the county to approve all special use permits for the solar farm applications that have been denied by the board. Is that legal? It sounds like extortion to me.
Well, what was surprising is the dates that he gave on it, because he said it had to be done by the 17th, the next hearing is the 16th. And usually there's usually like a 30-day thing in case one of the parties wants to appeal it. So we were shocked when we did that quickly. I have issues.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Hey, did I see another hand up somewhere? Anyone else? Jim, did you have your hand up? No? Okay. All right, just a couple quick reminders. Tomorrow evening is our annual township meeting at 7 o'clock here. For all those who would like to come to a second meeting in a row, we'll be doing our annual meeting. The agenda has been posted, assuming everyone has seen that. Also, just another reminder of Thursday, and how will all of us know about Thursday, if the hearing's gonna go or not?
So we'll contact Chrissy right away, basically, and let her know what happens at the hearing, and then she can immediately post that it's gonna be either on Thursdays going forward, or, if it's gonna be canceled.
Okay.
And then I think we'll probably have someone put it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, certainly,
I will.
certainly
I'll
we
get
will,
it.
yeah.
I'll get it to you, I'll get it to you.
Yeah.
I'll make sure everybody gets it, like, as soon as you get it to me, I'll
Yeah,
get it
and
out.
then I'll contact, Wilton Center, and important, I talked to her just before the meeting, and then I'll contact Jimmy Walsh as well and let them see how they, communicate with their elected.
Hold the comments. Mike, can you hang on one second, Mike? Someone was talking out there, so we don't want to overtalk them, but, okay, so, yeah, you'll do that. I mean, personally, I'm going to assume it's on, right? I think we should all just kind of assume it's on. Be prepared to speak if you plan on doing that.
Because a temporary restraining order would stop it tomorrow, and then they can't vote. An
Yes.
injunction would allow the meeting to go forward, and it could be then, if she gets the injunction, then all the other hearings will be just as if they never happened.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you all for coming. This might be a record we won't, well, hang on. No, not yet, not yet, not yet. We got to thank everybody for coming. And this might be a record of the shortest board meeting we've had so far this year. This is great. This is a good way to start off the fiscal year. All right, having completed the business of this evening, looking for a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by trustee Ralph Dietz, second by Belinda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Have a good evening, everybody.